Hello, everyone. This is President Demaris, and what we're going to be talking about today is the overall existence and rationale of Syd and Alessandra. This lesson will go over basic algebra, philosophy, quantum mechanics, and space-time. To start, we need to provide a context for this question, because most of you are most likely wondering why. You see, Syd and Alessandra like to talk about the idea that they are 10 feet tall, have a very, very long penis, 7 inches to be exact, that's what they said, and have multiple balls. But the problem comes from the fact that we, the observer, cannot see this. Only Al and Alessandra can see this. And we, to understand their mindset, Grant, Cedric, and I, Demaris, set out to find the answers. First, we start with a question. Is Syd and Alessandra real? Now, most of you are probably thinking, well, yes, I see her, so she must be real. Well, but this is simplistic and just doesn't cover the scope of the problem. We need to separate their reality and our reality. Their reality is expectations, and our reality is reality. In our view, Syd has 0 balls, no schlong, and is a measly 4'11". This also applies to Alessandra, even though she is slightly taller than Syd. Now, this algebra is shown on this slide, but it's very, very long and complicated, and it's a lesson that is reserved for another time. All that truly matters is our verdict that we came to. And our verdict is that Syd and Alessandra are both real and not real. How can this be, you ask? But it's simple. Superposition. Since a superposition is hard to understand, a simple thought experiment was devised to show it. Schrodinger's cat. Schrodinger's cat is a thought experiment, of course, like I just said. So basically what it is that a cat and a kill mechanism are put into a box. And after a while, due to the Copenhagen interpretation, if you don't know what that is, so you can just Google it, it's not that hard. The cat is simultaneously both dead and alive. But when someone looks inside the box, the cat is either dead or alive, not alive and dead. When the cat is in the box, it's in a superposition. Superpositions collapse when observed. Once we observe Syd and Alessandra, their superposition collapses into 2 possibilities: existence and non-existence. But here is where it gets a little bit crazy. Due to us not being able to have someone disappear from thin air and have our memory wiped, our consciousness literally cannot physically exist in a timeline where Syd and Alessandra isn't existing, meaning that 100% of the time, from our perspective, Syd and Alessandra will always exist. Okay, now, what does this have to do with the long schlong? Well, the new question is if Syd and Alessandra believe they have schlongs, how do they piss? This is where the wormhole theory comes into play. For a 7 feet long schlong to function while not being in a universe, they have to be considered a wormhole separate from our universe. The black hole theory says that the long schlong is a wormhole, and uses the example of a black hole's horizon point to showcase the existence of Syd and Alessandra's perception of a schlong. First, the wormhole. This theoretical wormhole is very stable and is also invisible to our eye. The wormhole brings the piss from a different dimension via dimensional travel. The black hole's horizon point is a physical point in a black hole where light can no longer escape and hit your eyes. This means, from an observer standpoint, the object that is going through the black hole is still moving closer, even if the object is physically destroyed. That new light can hit your eye and update your image. This means that Syd and Al are in this metaphorical black hole horizon point, where they still see this long schlong, but we, the observer, are not there and can't update our image. Another theory that can also explain Syd and Ale's consciousness and perceptiveness about their height is the multidimensional Syd and Alexandra theory, or the MDSAAT for short. 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 We have all heard of many dimensions, right? Sci-fi, all this stuff. But in reality, all these things do have little bit of backing in science. In these dimensions, anything is possible. For example, I'm president in one dimension. Shrek never came out in theories in another dimension. But just to wrap it all back to our question, it proposes that Syd and O's consciousness is from a different dimension. How does their consciousness move but not their physical body? Maybe thinking, well, we still have not found that answer, and we may never achieve it. But the MDSAAT theory proposes a few ideas. The Mandela effect. The Mandela effect, you probably heard of it before, but just to quickly glance over it, the Mandela effect is a phenomena where individuals have false or distorted memories of an idea, event, or person. Now, that's very important because events, ideas, or people, some of those things are physical, but an idea that is not physical and is merely imagination, I guess is the word. I believe this. Oh, wait, fuck. Some people's explanation of this is that their consciousness has been transferred somehow via dimensional travel. I believe this is what happened to Syd and Alessandra. Another radical idea is that the consciousness from another Syd and Al in a different dimension has been purposely transferred due to some sort of cataclysmic event that has happened in the future for them. While this idea we have less evidence for, it's just an idea that we need to be stated. To conclude everything, our verdict is that Syd and Alessandra are not real, and that the perception of their bodies may not be false and is actually true in a different dimension. I don't understand why they don't like to follow up on this idea and they slightly get ticked off by it, but it is very, very, very true according to our calculations and trials and tribulations, but that's okay. As you can see, this is very, very, very complicated, and this took a lot of effort. Wormhole is my first 7 foot long. Schrodinger's cat is the reason for Sid's balls and height. Dimensional transfer. Murphy's Law. This is the reason why there are many parameters of Sid and Alessandra. And if you look back at the mathematics, you can see that while it is very, very, very complicated, you can tell that there's a lot of effort. If you go through the steps, and maybe I'll go through the steps in another video, but for now, it's a whole different topic because it's very, very complicated. Okay, so there it is. That is the multidimensional Syd and Alessandra theory, the black hole theory, Schrodinger's cat, and everything that we went over to get our ideas. So, that's it.